Okay, herzlich willkommen, alle zusammen. You speak German or English?
English.
English, huh? So better we speak in English. Huh?
I don't know, maybe.
I think so, huh? Otherwise you sit here and think, this guy, what he's talking about. So first we read from Transcendental Diary, from Hari Showry. Duryodhana did this and thus, when Gandhari removed her blindfold, she was upset because not all his body was exposed to her gaze. She asked him why he did not disobey, why he had disobeyed his instruction. When he explained how he had met Krishna on the way, she knew there was no hope. Prabhupada told us, then she began to smile that my attempt is a failure. So Krishna knew it, that the part which was covered, that was not turned into iron. The other parts turned into iron on account of seeing by Gandhari. So in this fight, Krishna hinted Bhima that you strike here. That part is not ironized. Although it is against the regulative principles to strike the opponent's part below the waist, Krishna advised that unless you transgress this law, you cannot kill him. So he was stricken below the waist and he was not killed, but his waist was broken. Therefore, it is said, Vrikadara Vidi Gada Bimarsha. Then he died. This is mentioned here. Okay. Prabhupada went on to explain that only an unalloyed devotee can understand Krishna in truth. You cannot understand Krishna simply because you are a learned Sanskrit scholar. You are a rascal. Krishna is not so easy to be understood by scholarship or Sanskrit language. Don't commit this mistake. Krishna is understood by a person to whom Krishna reveals. That is the understanding. This is completely said. Ayamatma vibhavacha labona medya. Because you have got the fertile brain, you have studied so much, therefore you will be able to understand Krishna? No. If Krishna reveals to you, then you will be able. That revelation is possible when you are a devotee, otherwise it's not possible. You just read, huh? You don't say something. Yeah, it's a powerful story, huh? Of Gandhari. She wanted to save her son, but then Krishna, he came on the way and he said, you, to Duryodhana, you cannot be naked, right? You won't be naked in front of your mother, right? And then Duryodhana said, actually it's true. So he put on the gamsha, but this was his... Right? So Krishna, he is a very tricky fellow. And now we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 12, text number 14. Tasmat akirti yashosa Tasmat akirti yashosa Jaya payayayo api Jaya payayayo api Samasya sukha dukkhabhyam Samasya sukha dukkhabhyam Mrityu jivatayostata Mrityu jivatayostata Yasmat akirti yashoso Jaya payayayo api Samasya sukha dukkhabhyam Mrityu jivatayostata Tasmat, therefore, because of being fully dependent on the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Akirti, of defamation, Yashaso, and fame, Jai, victory, Apayayayo, and defeat, Api, even, Sama, equal, Syad, one should be, Sukha dukkhabhyam, with the distress and happiness, Mrityu, of death, Jivatayo, or of living, Tata, as well as. Translation. Since everything is dependent on the supreme will of the personality of Godhead, one should be equipoised in fame and defamation, victory and defeat, life and death. In their effects, represented as happiness and distress, one should maintain oneself in equilibrium without anxiety. Sattvam rajastama iti. Oder?
Achso, dann weiterlesen.
Weil da gibt es keine Erläuterung.
Ja, das weiterlesen. Aber kannst du immer so lesen.
Einfach so. Sattvam rajastama iti prakrityanan mato guna tatra shakshinam atmanam yovedasana bhatyate. One who knows that the three qualities, goodness, passion and ignorance, are not qualities of the soul, but qualities of material nature, and who knows that the pure soul is simply an observer of this action and reactions of these qualities, should be understood to be a liberated person. He is not bound by these qualities. Purport. The Lord explains in Bhagavad Gita 18:18-54, Brahmabhuta prasanatma na shochati na kankshati samasaveshu bhuteshu mat bhaktim napate param. One who is transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that stage, he attains pure devotional service unto me. When one has attained self-realization, the Brahmabhuta stage, one knows that that whatever happens during his life is due to the contamination of the modes of material nature. The living being, the pure soul, has nothing to do with these modes. In the midst of the hurricane of the material world, everything changes very quickly, but if one remains silent and simply observes the actions and reactions of the hurricane, he is understood to be liberated. The real qualification of the liberated soul is that he remains Krishna conscious, undisturbed by the actions and reactions of the material energy. Such a liberated person is always jubilant. He never laments or aspires for anything. Since everything is supplied by the Supreme Lord, the living entity, being fully dependent on him, should not protest or accept anything in terms of his personal sense gratification. Rather, he should receive everything as a mercy of the Lord, remain steady in all circumstances. Amagyantimanasya gnanjala jalakaya chakshomaritamina tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakramaya Tadati Swabhadatikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I go to China now sometimes, and then I have a story for you from China. So there was a farmer, he lived, very poor farmer, he lived in a small village, he was the poorest man in the whole village, and he only had a horse and a small piece of land, and the horse he needed to plow the field and everything, and he had a son, and the son helped him because he was already quite old. And then this farmer, he was a very interesting fellow. One day his horse ran away. And then the whole village was like, oh my God, such a misfortune. This poor farmer already is the poorest of all, and now his horse ran away. And then this farmer is like, fortune or unfortune, who knows? And this villager stares like, he's too old, you don't realize, like, he needs the horse to plow the field and to work all this. You don't understand. So then, 1 week later, this horse come back with 7 wild horses. Right? And the whole village is like, wow, this is amazing, how this can happen, such a fortune. Right? And this farmer again, fortune or unfortune, who knows? And the villagers again, this guy, he don't understand how much these horses are value. This is amazing. So then this son, he trained up the horses, right? But they are very wild. So one horse kicked him down. So he broke his leg. So the whole village again, oh no, what a misfortune. And then this farmer again, fortune, misfortune, who knows? And they again, he don't understand. He needs his son. He can't even carry the water from the river to his home. Like, what he's thinking. 1 week later, the soldiers come through the village. They say the enemy king attacked our kingdom. All the young men have to go to war. Except son of our farmer, because a broken leg, completely useless. Right? So all the villagers, oh my God, what a fortune! And this farmer again, fortune or not fortune, who knows? 1 year later, all the sons come back from the war, successfully kicked out the king out of their kingdom. Everybody had some riches, catch some gold and stuff from the enemy kingdom. So everybody's like, oh my God, what a misfortune. The poorest of us all. He didn't get anything. Everybody else got richer, but he is not. Such a misfortune. This farmer again, fortune or unfortune, who knows? So this story is 3 hours story. But I think you get an idea. Yeah. This farmer, he is Krishna conscious. Yeah. This is what's explained here, and Vritrasura, he is like really good example of how he is completely on this Brahmabhuta platform. And the first interesting realization from this whole story is why the whole mess started is just because Indra didn't respect his spiritual master. Because, if you have material opulences, then you start to think, I'm good, I'm doing good, so, and then the danger is coming that you don't take the spiritual, guidance and values as important, or like more important than the material things, right? So Indra, he got carried away by his material position and whatever, so he didn't respect his spiritual master. And then the whole mess started. Right? So this is the first point to understand. And then Vritrasura, he had a deep realization. He realized, I have nothing to lose and to win in this world. That's why he could fight like anything. Right? All these demons, they said, they got cold feet, so they ran away. And Vritrasura is like, he couldn't care less. Your whole army disappearing and you're standing there alone. Right? He couldn't care less. So all these demigods, they are shocked. They think, oh my God, what is this guy? He has no fear at all. He must be invincible, right? So they also shaked with their legs. Right? So they went to Vishnu to ask for help, and then he gave them this thunderbolt. But actually, the point was, he just realized, I have nothing to win and nothing to lose. Right? And he said to this demons, hey, if you lose the battle, you go to heaven. If you win the battle, you get the kingdom. So what's your problem? Right? And this hymn is for us in everyday life. Normally, if we are in a material condition, we think success means that we gain something material. That's the success. And if we didn't get it, it was a failure. Right? But here it says that this gaining or losing is an arrangement of Krishna. It has nothing to do with us. This is Krishna's will. He is giving and he is taking, however he wants it. Right? So success is not to gain or to lose. Success is to do our duty and to really be connected to Krishna, to really be like detached from all material things and just do our duty. That's the real success. What comes out? It's another story. Vritrasura, he knew he will lose. Right? He couldn't care less. He already, Indra lose his weapon. So he could quickly say, okay, let's finish him off. Right? He said, pick up your weapon, I wait for you. Right? Indra is like such a lost guy, not getting it together. So he's waiting, come on, pick up your weapon, let's keep on fighting. Right? Because he understood it's not about winning, it's not about being successful in the material understanding. So this is very powerful to understand, and for us in our life also to realize what should be the focus. And then to come to a stage, we do now retreats in China, and you cannot preach Krishna consciousness directly. So you have to find the ways how to bring them Krishna consciousness without them even noticing. Right? It's a challenge, but we found a way, exactly through this, to try to bring them on this Brahmabhuta level, to be in love with Krishna's arrangement. Right? Because, you cannot speak about Krishna, they cannot perceive Krishna as something far away, for us also. But we can see Krishna's arrangement in everyday life. But the problem is, we don't argue with this arrangement. We don't like it. We don't like the things as they are. Right? But there's a problem here. Because the things as they are in perfect arrangement. Like Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, he said, if you think this world needs a reform, you need to reform yourself. Because the world is perfectly, minutely managed by the perfect autocrat. Yeah. And he's not making a mistake. But for us it's like, hey, wait a minute, this is not like how we can accept the world as it is. There's no devotees in the temple, why they're all out there doing nonsense. Why they're doing wars and all this nonsense. It's all perfect. I met one guy, I was 21, I traveled in Thailand on a ship. I was like on my way spiritually, wanted to find the Qigong master there. And then I met a Muslim on a ship, he said, everything is perfect, you just have to see it. And this stuck to me, this sentence stuck to me. Everything is perfect. Interesting concept, right? So even for us as devotees, sometimes we think this is not like, this guy is too noisy, snoring in the night, and the neighbor is complicated, why we can't make kirtan and whatever. We think there's some mistake, but no. If we think like this, we are in argument with reality. We are in argument with reality because the things are as they are. Neighbors are by nature complicated. If you think differently, you are in argument with reality. That's the fact. Right? And people by nature, they are focused on the material things. That's a fact. So if you're in argument with reality, you cannot, first of all, you cannot be in peace. And second of all, you cannot act in the right way in this material world. You will always be in the wrong mindset, in the wrong paradigm, in rightfully functioning in a Krishna conscious way. So what we are doing in these retreats is to bring them in this right mindset, and then if they in love with reality, in love with what is, then it's a very small step to love Krishna, because he's just behind everything. Yeah. So we do some trick, and then do some healing, and then at the end we do kirtan, and they're all like, some door opens up. That's our strategy. And the point is, there's only 3 businesses in this world. There's our own business, business of other people, and the business of God. And the problem is, often we are not in our own business. We are in the business of other people. How this person should behave, and what this person should do, and why this person is not doing that. Right? So we are completely in the other business. And then, if we are focusing on this other person, who is taking care of our own business? Nobody. Or even worse, somebody else. Right? That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, it's more dangerous to do another one's business than your own business. Yeah. So the art is to focus our own business, to look on what's our part of the whole situation. And do that well. And trust that the rest will fall into place. And it doesn't, like, also for example, like we met one woman in Thailand, and she said, yeah, my partner, he's taking drugs every day, and I'm really frustrated with it. Right? If he takes drugs sometimes, I don't mind, but every day is too much for me. Right? And then the how to say, the conclusion is not, yeah, it's his business, you don't care. Right? You stay in your own business, you take yourself, and if you take drugs every day, you don't care. No, your own business is to realize that, yeah, you have a partner who's taking drugs every day. Right? Not to be in argument with reality, that you think, no, actually I have a nice partner, just now at the moment he's taking drugs. Right? And then you're frustrated with your partner because he's taking drugs, because in your mind, he's not. Just now at the moment he's doing. Right? So if you get out of reality, out of the argument with reality, and be in love with what is, with reality, to understand, yeah, I have a partner who's taking drugs every day. Then you can make your own conclusions. Then you realize, maybe I don't want to have a partner, have a kid with somebody who's taking drugs every day, and who can't actually take care of me. And then you can make your right decisions in life. Right? If there's a Bhakta who never comes to a morning program and sleeps until 11 o'clock, yeah, you can be frightened with him. But also you can think, hey, maybe it just shows that he is not fit to live in a temple at the moment. Right? Instead of being in argument with reality that, why he is not, no, he's just not. Right? So if we are seeing the things as they are, if we are in love with reality, then we can act in the right way. If we understand, yeah, people are materialistic, they don't come here because they miss Krishna in the morning when they wake up and they can't tolerate the separation, and that's why they come in the temple. Then we have to think, okay, how we can attract these people, what we can do to bring them so they want to come in the temple, they find something interesting and relevant to them to come in the temple. And I tell you, people are ready. Right? People are ready. Like I go to Yoga Vidya, they have a big center with 1,000 beds. There's constantly 600-700 people there. And they do kirtan in the evening, they do yoga during the day. They don't do anything nonsense. I mean, it's not Krishna conscious. But they do kirtan, they have a puja, they listen to class. It's every day is 600 people. And they pay for it. Like good money, like €100 a day. 100 euro, yeah.
A day?
Mm. It's accommodation and food, and you get yoga classes and kirtan. Mm. And it's all kinds of people, you know. So they're ready. If I give seminars there, I talk my thing, and they like it. It's not that they think, oh, come on, it's too much. They like it, they're ready for it. Just you have to explain it in a way that, you know, step by step, not immediately like, surrender to Krishna. He's the only truth, absolute truth. Mm. So, if we approach them in the right way, then, yeah, it's there are everybody out there. Mm. And you are sitting on a gold mine here in Cologne. You are sitting on a gold mine. You have 20 million people in your reach. I tell you, 20 million people is as many people as live in Australia. And they have like 10 temples down there. Right? 20 million people is serious. This is more than London and Berlin together. So, you're sitting on a gold mine, you can do huge here. It's big potential, so yeah. I think that if we get in the right mindset, we can reach a lot of people in very different ways. It needs all kinds of different approaches because people are different. So even Krishna takes different forms to attract them for different people, right? He even changes shape, his whole story, like his lila, completely different mood. Same person, right? Suddenly a sweet boy, then again, completely like 180 degrees change. So, yeah, there's a big potential, and if we first of all understand, everything is perfect as it is. Get out of the victim position to the position to understand, no, Krishna is doing this perfectly. He is arranging this perfectly for us to understand what needs to be done. And then to come to a stage to accept, to be in love with reality, love with what is, and understand success is not in the result, but in the action. Then the magic can happen. Okay, any questions, comments? Yeah?
Thank you very much. It's nice you're here. I'm glad because last time, except this festival in Taucha, it was years ago, you have come here with a group, what I can remember, musicians. They were playing guitar and something, it was very nice.
I took a whole group
but
from the Rainbow.
It's a me, so I can't forget that.
15 people I took from the Rainbow, and then we...
Yeah, for the Rainbow festivals. Good. That was nice young people. Very nice. Very friendly and kind. And my question is, maybe a good direct question. Also, I have two questions. First, the first one, and then the second one I answer. The first question is, you were speaking about our business and our business. About distribution, what business is it?
If you distribute books, your business is to approach the people in a way very friendly and meditate that you're an instrument of God and ask for guidance and inspiration. And the business of the people is to decide if they want it or not.
So that means that is not God business. That is woman business.
Yeah, God's business is to decide.
Or the business of my Guru Maharaj?
God's business is to decide, do I give her sunshine today or put her in the rain?
To what again? A sunshine or put in the rain? Okay.
God's business is to decide, do I send her to the people who want to take a book, or do I send her to the people who don't want to take a book? As a super soul.
Yes, but I mean the cause.
The cause?
The cause. So this business, where it comes from, because the great acharyas, they were also distributing books, yes? That was many years ago. Yes. And also they, Haridas Thakur,
No, don't us.
Yeah, they were distributing these books, the poesy of Thakur, of doesn't matter now, okay? They were really so holy persons, not like me, for example. Yes, they were doing this mission. They were going on the mission of Lord Chaitanya because he wanted really that we should distribute the holy names of the books. Is it the business of God?
The business of God is more to make the bigger arrangements. But if we desire, or if we, if we put ourselves as an instrument, that's our duty.
Because we are doing so our things according to instructions we get from our spiritual master, you too. Yes, and your spiritual master, he said very important thing before leaving this world. He said the word mission.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That is my question. If
Yes.
business of God or Paramatma, you know, there are 5 kinds of Paramatmas, many. So it is very difficult because God, Krishna God, is very, 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 very much behind everything what we are doing. Or
No, he's not very much behind. He's directly here.
Paramatma
He's
is
fully involved in every action and
That
reaction.
is Paramatma.
Yes.
Bhagavan, one of the aspects of
Yeah,
God.
so Bhagavan,
It's not here.
he is having fun with the gopis.
Okay.
That's also fine.
Then is the second question. So there are jivas who are from material world and the jivas who are from the spiritual world.
Mm.
What you can say about it? How we can attach it to the first question. The jivas from the spiritual world, maybe these are our spiritual masters, are doing here their business or godly business. So the jivas from the spiritual world and jivas from the material world, they are not the same. Yes, the demigods, the jivas are from this material world. Yes, well, that is a question. If you got it.
I don't understand your question.
You don't understand. So there are the jivas, 2 kinds.
Yes.
The jivas from the material world,
Mm.
it's not my world, so. And the jivas from the spiritual world, sent to us, just like Sri Prabhupada, we can say,
okay.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they are doing, if they are from the spiritual world, so logically they are doing the business of God.
No, they are doing their own business. They are doing their own business, and their business, the business of the soul is to be a servant of God. They are not in God's business. The business of God is to make the arrangements, to be as a super soul guiding everybody. Right? So, but their business is to be a servant of Krishna. And they stay in their own business. They are not in argument with Krishna's arrangements. You know? Like Futasura here, he is not like frustrated. Hey, come on, I'm much more devotee than all these guys together. Right? Why Krishna put me in this situation? He's not in argument with God's business. He's not getting in God's business. It's God's decision what he is doing. So he is completely staying in his own business, in his own. My job is to fight here and to depend, like to accept everything as it is, as perfect.
Doesn't it look like a victim a bit?
No, not at all. Not at all. You're a victim if you think you don't have any control about it. But Virtasuri is in full control of the situation. Right? Because he don't think it on a material platform anymore. He think it on a spiritual platform. Where he, like, I died, couldn't care less. Right? If you think it on a material platform, yeah, you can quickly be in the victim role.
Thank you.
I just have a question. You know, I'm not so elevated in Krishna consciousness, but how is it possible to stay in my business? Because of course, I know everything is an arrangement with Krishna. You speak about it, and a lot of bad things happen in the world. Everything is arranged in the of Krishna. So how can I train myself to be always in my business? To have more peace in my mind.
Well, first of all, we can always remember that Krishna is behind everything, and he is the perfect manager of this world, right? So instead of being in argument with reality and like be frustrated with something, we can think and ask ourselves, why Krishna arranged it like this, right? To see the things from Krishna's perspective instead from our perspective. Why is Krishna doing it like this? Right? And then the effect is that you get out of your mind. Because actually the only problem is our mind, our thoughts. Right? For example, your neighbor makes noise. You can be so frustrated with this neighbor. in India they have neighbors, they make 3 times more noise, they couldn't care less, right? So it's not the neighbor making noise, it's our mind who will give us trouble, right? So this is the first step to try to see Krishna's perspective, understand it's our mind who's the actual problem, and then we can turn things around even. If you say, I'm frustrated with my neighbor because he's so noisy, you can turn it around. I'm frustrated with myself because I'm so noisy. My mind is so noisy to me that I can't focus on the essence. And that's some tricks to basically help yourself to get out of. We always have some certain paradigm and fixed on some idea. That's why there can be so much conflict in the world, because people are stuck in their own fixed concept, right? And if we train ourselves to see things from different perspectives, and ideally from Krishna's perspective, then we are in love with reality, then we are in love with everything that is. And before you're not in love with everything that is, how you can love Krishna? Inside, you will always have some crutch, like, Krishna, why you do it like this? This is, I'm not, you know. How you can love somebody who if you have a temple president who always does the decisions which is against your idea, how you can really appreciate him fully? It's not working, right? So first we have to be in love with reality, to that our love to Krishna can fully grow and manifest. So that's a very practical strategy. Of course, we have one strategy is the spiritual practice and understanding and study, but then on the material platform, to how to implement it in everyday life, in daily actions and difficulties and challenges. It's a good strategy to use. So you fight the Maya from all angles.
You explained it nicely, but how we can realize it, and that we are not a disturbance in God's plan. So how He will show us this. So in daily life. So you understand? So how can we see it that we are on the wrong path or we are on the right path? So in His plan, so we act how He wants, how we act, and not how we think we have to act. So so how we can see it.
Well, I mean, first of all, of course, do we follow the instructions of our spiritual master, right? Are we in line with Krishna's desire, Krishna's wish? Are we in tune with what Krishna wants for this world and for us, right? So Krishna says, Prativiti Yata Nagara Karma, in every town, every village, the holy name should be heard, right? How we can manifest this, right? How we can manifest that people have access to Krishna consciousness, right? And then in everyday life, how, like, first of all, I think my conviction is, if you're in the right mindset, like in love with reality, accept the things as they are, not argue against it, then automatically it's much more easy to be connected to the super soul, because you're not in your head anymore, in your own concept how things should be, right? You are in the reality, and that's reality means not Maya, right? So then you're connected to Krishna, and then you know how to, you have a inspiration, you have a guidance, you have intuition, you know? Like my wife, she's not chanting even, you know? she has deep love for Krishna. She really wants to spread Krishna consciousness. And by now she has like within half a year she has like her own course with 400 people, and we did a live stream 3 days ago with 32,000 people. It's like, just she is not in argument like, if you think, in China how you can spread Krishna consciousness, very difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult if you do it in the concept as a standard, devotee. Very difficult in China. What like devotees are doing for 20 years, it's not easy to reach out. But if you realize, okay, the reality is people are materialistic. The reality is if you speak about Krishna, the platform immediately closes you down. So, right? You're not in argument with it. Then you just work with what is, right? So my same conviction is, as I said, you live on a gold mine here with 20 million people. That's reality, and then they are materialistic. They're looking for fun, so you give them fun, right? You don't expect them to immediately be pure devotees, but give them experiences which bring them further. I think we, as devotees, we should be more in mode of goodness, in the sense of not expect passionately that immediately they become on the stage of sincere devotee. No, be in a mode of goodness, step by step. Where are you now? Okay, what's your next step then? Let's look at it, right? And then if you give this to them, they'll be fully appreciating that you, as devotee, can understand them, because that's not what they have normally, that somebody really understands them and can really care so much to really go into their, walk in their shoes, And then they can accept you as authority, and once they accept you as authority, you say, okay, now you went this step, now we do the next step, let's go, But it takes years. I have people, I have friends, they are my friends, they become devotees, but it takes years. In the meantime, they support me on the festivals and do kirtan, and they share about Krishna already to their friends. So, but to come to the real stage of 16 rounds and deep understanding, takes time. And if I push them, it's not working. So I think it's in the beginning the devotees had the idea, okay, at one point we take over the world and then everybody's in saffron and chant 16 rounds, but good luck, But as we see now, that what happens is, people become vegetarian, people do yoga, people get open for different ideas about reincarnation, about whatever. So step by step, the paradigms of the Vedic culture enter society. And that's the real important thing. If people change their paradigms from the Western paradigms to the Vedic, the rest will happen automatically, right? So this is much more important to implement in the society than to have the highest standard expect for all. So I think that's one thing to meditate. And then just ask for guidance, pray, follow the instruction of spiritual master, and also think independently at the same time. Prabhupada, he empowered his devotees, and they did things he could never imagine, He was not thinking, okay, let's do a rock concert with Janis Joplin, So it was not like Prabhupada came to America and saying, okay, let's do a rock concert with Janis Joplin, right? But he was open for the idea. He didn't care. He said, okay, that's your way how you do it, let's do it, right? Because he knew that to empower his disciples is more important than even they make mistakes, they learn from the mistakes, they grow from it, but instead of stifle them and tell them each small step what to do, then at the end they just become like, okay, then I do what my authority says. But this is not, then we can't follow our heart, our calling, our inspiration. So Prabhupada was fanning that inspiration, you know, and each one is different, each one has a different, you just direct it in a like little bit like, you know, like this. This is powerful. Then you see that these devotees, they were 20 years old, 25, they had no clue. But Prabhupada was like, okay, you do, no problem. Empowering them. And that gave them the trust and faith to listen whatever Prabhupada told them, you know. That's because they had this, okay, he is really genuinely interested in me and caring and supporting me. Okay?
Our Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Maharaj, very often is saying first human consciousness and then Krishna consciousness. It means it is not the same. It's very much not the same. Yes, and where sometimes I heard it, sometimes even in the lectures, yes, that we see this Krishna consciousness very easy and much more very cheap. Because for me, for example, it is, I'm very far from this, but what I can. Very, 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 the more I read, the more I listen to, the more I understand. Not possible. Yes. I mean, not possible, but the level. We should know, if you said reality, we should know the level, yes. Yes. So that's what I wanted to ask, yes. What to think of it, because in the street we're also trying to speak simple and tricky sometimes. The people take books, and Srila Prabhupada, he liked this rock concerts, for example, in San Francisco, because Mukunda has found the temple because of the donations coming from these rock concerts. Yes, the rock concert was the cause of to get Lakshmi for opening the temple. So that is also human consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Yes. What do you think of it? How we can, because if we are preaching every day or almost every day in the street, so I feel like myself already don't understand anything, but no, these things, you see, that is so how to protect ourselves, how to know that there's a very difference. We're speaking so much Krishna conscious. We don't know even who is Paramatma, where Paramatma is. We're speaking about Krishna conscious so much.
Yeah. So first there's common sense. You should have common sense. That's human consciousness. Have common sense and understand the reality of this world. Understand, like, have a normal, how to say, healthy judgment about ourselves and the world and others. And then there's a consciousness about reality of this world, and then we add Krishna, and then it's become Krishna consciousness. And yeah, we just, as it's, of course it's a high level, like Fritasura, he is like getting killed, and he's like, take your weapon, you know, like I wait for you, no problem, you know. This is a high level, of course. If you get defeated, then it's really frustrating. You're down for a whole week, like, oh my God, or like somebody criticizes you, you know. Of course, but then the more we are Krishna conscious, then the more we understand. Like Bhakti Saraswati, he, like one person who criticized him the most, when he died, he is really sad. Because he understood, this person teach me the most. Those who glorify you, you can't learn from them. Right? The one who criticizes you, he is expert to find your way or your areas of improvement. He can point it out. So this is like all these acharyas, they are looking themselves like where I have some blind spots still, you know, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his songs, he's like, yeah, I'm a complete materialist, I waste all my time, you know, for material things. So he tried any blind spot he still has in his devotion to Krishna, he's pointing it out, look here, this I have to still work on. So if somebody is like criticizing you, then he is helping you to find these blind spots, you know. So if you're in the Krishna conscious stage, then you say, wow, thank you, really cool, you're the best, right? But this is a high level, of course, it's a real high state of consciousness. And plus you can know from Mahabharata, if somebody criticizes you, best thing that can happen to you. Why? Because he is giving you his good karma, his punya, and he's taking away these qualities of you that he's criticizing. So, doesn't mean you should act in a way that people start to criticize you all the time.
Just as much as possible.
Yeah, but that's the thing. And why they criticize is usually because they have it inside of them as well and frustrated about it inside of them but can't admit it, so they project it to the outside. So then with compassion you can also understand, yeah, I'm sorry, it's true. At the same time, why you are agitated about it is because I'm a mirror to your own challenges. Right? So it's all these things are actually, come to a human consciousness. There's a lot of things, even the karmis outside they are doing. Sometimes they are more in their personal development, they are more advanced than the devotees, because that's what they are working on, right? So if we as devotees working on this also, first of all, people are really inspired because they think, wow, they are practicing what they are preaching. They are realized they are in this stage of being in love with reality. And second of all, for us, it's much more easy to go deep in our Krishna consciousness with this. Like if we have the spiritual practice on one side and the personal development on the other side, then, as I said, you fight Maya from both angles. Thank you so much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.